Talk to me about cancer. You've had such an upbeat attitude about it. It's really pretty extraordinary. Was that your initial reaction? Did you go through a trough of despair when you first got diagnosed? Like, how have you framed that?
Those three words, "you have cancer," three of the most feared words in 7 different languages. I saw it as a fight. And from that time to this time, you know, my PSA was 2,400. And that stands for prostate-specific antigen, and now it's below 0 and metastasized to 7 areas of my body. I never was fearful that I was going to die from it. And I think that I read something by Dr. Norman Cousins. He wrote a book called The Biology of Hope. And he talked about the fact that when something happens to you, you don't deny it, you defy it. And I was defiant that I'm going to beat this, I'm going to handle this. That there are people who many times when something happens to them, that they embrace it from a place of fear and it takes them out. And L.C. Robinson said, things may happen to you and things may happen around you, but the most important things are the things that happen in you. And you have to stand up inside yourself and deal with it and handle it. Fear has not been the biggest challenge that I've faced with the things that I've been dealing with in terms of my health. The easiest thing I've done was to get out from under the labels and to live the life that I live. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do it. When you don't know what's impacting you, and it's something that's holding you down and you're not aware of it. So there are things that when you, in my situation, when you live in a dominant culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self and your belief in yourself, and you have to learn ways in which you can begin to connect with this power that you have within yourself to handle where you are. The key is to be constantly in a perpetual process of discovering the truth of who you are and fighting constantly to look for ways in which you can escape the inner conversation. I speak to audiences around the world, and I train speakers as well, and I tell them that when you speak, that there's an objective that you want to achieve when you speak to an audience, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So you as a speaker, when you speak in this program, when people see you, what you do is distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract people from their current story with your guests and the questions that you ask. Through the process of the ongoing questioning and the way in which they respond and the things they have learned, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to create a new chapter with their lives. And so, but that's an ongoing process of constantly interrupting that conversation, what psychologists call your self-explanatory style, because life is going to beat up on you in so many ways, and many things, they come back, you know, negative thoughts and how you feel about yourself, they don't die. They come back once you stop doing the maintenance work on your mind, listening to motivational messages, going to seminars and workshops, spending time quietly listening to the still small voice within. Who am I really? Is this really me? Am I giving my best? Am I just reflecting what's around me? Because all of these various things affect how we show up in life. And so having a strategy to continuously find ourselves reaching higher. Robert Schuller had a book, it's not very popular, but I loved it. It's called Peak to Peak, U-P-E-A-K to P-E-E-K, because you're constantly reaching higher to find out and discover your better self. There's a real you. Richard Wright said it best. He said, the impulse to dream has slowly been beaten out of me through the experiences of life. So when you live in a culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self, where you are marginalized, where you have a feeling of being hopeless and powerless and you're terrorized. They used to have signs on Miami Beach that said, Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed. And so now you have to operate within the constraints of the dominant society and the things that they've created for you. And it's a challenge to see yourself beyond that and to work to get outside of that, even after those laws have changed, because that has become so much a part of you. You unconsciously operate within the parameters of what has been put in place. Like you're driving on the expressway, the 405, and you'll get off on an exit that you weren't going in that direction, but you unconsciously did it because you've done it so many times that many people, because they're not making a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to think outside of what life has thrown at them, they end up doing the same thing over and over and over again. Einstein said that thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so through relationships, through reading, through studies, through goals and dreams beyond your comfort zone, it allows you to begin to live out of your imagination as opposed to out of your history. Disney said, the imagination is a preview of what's to come. I'm here with you because of two women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And because of her example and my love for her and the passion that I felt in my heart, I've got to do something to make her proud. I've got to do something to put myself in position to be able to take care of her. That drove me. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. We want to live a life that will outlive us, the work that you're doing. There are people that you will never meet, whose lives that you've transformed, that you're living a life that will outlive you. Just think about the fact that this program has given a lot of people hope, and there's hope in the future. It gives you power in the present. Every 40 seconds, someone commits suicide. But because of something you say or some guest that you've invited, and as they share their story, you interrupt that story of being hopeless and powerless and not wanting to be here anymore. And because they took the time to watch, you create an experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And so at the end of the program, at the end of one of your presentations, there are people who, because of you, their lives will be transformed, and they will become a pencil, as Mother Teresa would say, in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter with their lives. You get hungry by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us are born unique, but most of us die copies. You got to find out what is it that turns you on, what resonates with you. One of the things that I realized and what allowed me to become successful as a speaker, the speaking industry has been hijacked by people who speak to sell, and it's okay to do that and make money. I speak to change lives because somebody spoke and changed my life. So this is my passion. This is my drive. This is something that I feel in my heart. And so the key to that hunger-driven life is a heart-centered life. I didn't do what I'm doing for years because of my programming, because of the culture in which I was raised in. I would see other people with degrees and PhDs and MBAs and credentials I don't have, and I convinced myself I couldn't do it. But Mr. Washington, on that day, we became friends, and he taught me not only someone's opinion of you does not have to determine your reality. He said that you have to work on yourself, and you have to have an unstoppable attitude and no excuse is acceptable, and you've got to make it a priority, a non-negotiable in your life, and hold a constant vision of what it is you want to achieve. See it accomplished and go all out. Find a way to win in spite of the setbacks, in spite of the disappointments, in spite of your failures. I tell people when I'm giving presentations, you will fail your way to success. I have a saying, as life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And so those experiences of going after goals that's beyond your comfort zone, and having relationships that will challenge you, and surrounding yourself with coaches and mentors who can take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself, because you can't read the label when you're locked in the box. And so those experiences, they challenge you to go to that next level and continue to move forward in your life, doing new and exciting things that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you when you live a heart-centered life, deciding that you're going to live a life that will outlive you. You're going to live a life that counts, a life that will build a legacy and change the planet. You know, Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. And so there are things that we pick up and we think that they're our choices, but they're the choices that we've been programmed by life to do. When we leave our homes in the morning, we're bombarded with over 6,000 advertising hits through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, through television, through our phones, and through our communities, and through the computers. And so all of these things are impacting us every day. So if you don't have a program for your mind, then your mind is going to be programmed, and you'll find yourself doing things that you did not know, and that they affected you, that they, through marketing techniques and strategies, that they will create a thirst within you. I came up in an era that said if you built the best mousetrap, the world will be the path to your door. But if you know marketing, people will sleep outside your store. And so many people never achieve their goals because they have too many toxic, negative, energy-draining people in their lives. And you have to have goals outside of your comfort zone that will challenge you, because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. And you got to have a mentor who's experienced, who's been there, done that. And as a result of that relationship, because you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest, but he never won a championship without Angelo Dundee. And Michael Jordan never won a championship without Phil Jackson. So you've got to have someone that can see something in you that you can't see, that can take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself. So I would teach them the value of having a life coach, that life is an adventure and it's going to be a challenge, and get ready because you're going to fail your way to success. You're going to get slapped around by life. And don't spend time complaining about it and telling everybody 80% don't care and 20% glad as you. Focus on the value of not only just changing your mind, but having a program to do maintenance work on your mind, because those negative thoughts will come back with a vengeance. Once you stop the ritual of whatever you're doing, that will hold those negative thoughts in check. Negative thoughts are like weeds. You can't kill weeds. You can hold them down for a minute, but once you stop doing the things to overpower those negative thoughts, because we've been taught to dislike ourselves, that if I said to you, Tom, you can't do this show, you just don't have what it takes. You have a face that only a mother could love, Tom. You can't do this. Then MIT did this study, and somebody else has to come along and say, Tom, don't pay any attention. You can do it, Tom. You can do this. Don't listen to him. You can do this. Listen to me, Linda. You can do this. 17 times to neutralize that one time. And so When we think about him and his work, and he did a lot of profound work, it's focused on how to begin to get under those conscious thoughts and impact that subconscious mind to create an ongoing process of renewing how we see ourselves. We've developed a program called 4 Steps to Greatness, and it's a cyclic process. One, self-awareness, where you constantly, every day when I get up, I read. I get up and there's a scripture I love, because all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And so I meditate on that, and I visualize myself doing some good stuff in the planet. The next step is not only self-awareness, but the next thing is self-approval, that you have to have a program that will increase your sense of self, reading, doing good work, volunteering, constantly looking for ways in which you can improve all the dimensions of your life, being a better father, being a better husband, a wife, or being a better person, because we want to have a holistic approach to life. Because if your achievements outgrow your sense of self, you will unconsciously engage in self-destructive behavior.